Facts Verse presents Homeless Woman Ordering McDonald's Gets a Reaction She Didn't Expect. It doesn't always take much to brighten somebody's day. You don't have to spend hundreds of dollars or hours of your time to put a smile on somebody's face. In some cases, it's just a random act of kindness from a stranger that can mean the most. A Welsh man realized how important kindness could be to a person when he went to grab some food at a local McDonald's. For Jonathan Pengelly, a night out with friends could bring some pretty crazy things. He liked to go bar hopping with his buds, and they'd often find crazy adventures along the way. One night, Jonathan and his friends were heading home from a night of bar hopping around the port city of Cardiff in Wales. After hours of drinking, the group was hungry, and they'd spent a lot of their money. Fortunately, McDonald's was nearby, and they'd be able to get a good meal that they could afford. Jonathan and his friends were hungry, and they were also a bit annoyed when they went into McDonald's and saw the line was a lot longer than they'd expected. It wasn't because of a large rush of late-night customers, though. There was a woman at the front of the line trying to place her order, but the cashier wasn't allowing it. Jonathan could tell from where he was standing that the woman was homeless. At first, he assumed that she was asking the cashier for a free meal because she couldn't pay. Jonathan got in line and moved in closer to see what was really going on, and after listening for a moment, he realized the woman wasn't trying to get a free meal. She just wanted a cup of water. That's it. When the cashier refused to give the woman a cup of water, she walked away from the counter. As she walked away, Jonathan was able to get a good look at her. She looked very weak and sickly, which worried Jonathan. He didn't want this poor woman going out into the cold with nothing to eat or drink. Before the woman could leave McDonald's, Jonathan decided if there was anything he could do for her, he would. And at first, he expected the woman to ask for a big, expensive order. When she told him that she wanted a cheeseburger, that's it, he was surprised. Of everything on the menu, the simple cheeseburger was pretty much the least expensive thing she could have asked for. Jonathan was impressed by this woman's humility. Jonathan decided no, he wanted to do more for her. Jonathan wanted to do more for the woman, so he told her that he'd buy her a cheeseburger and also asked if there was anything else he could do. After thinking about it for a moment, the woman asked Jonathan if he'd be willing to buy a small bite for her friend who was waiting outside. Well, Jonathan was touched that the woman was thinking about her friend when she also was in need. He went to the counter and ordered as much food as he could carry. His friends did the same. When they were done, they had ordered the two an entire McDonald's feast. After buying food for the two women, Jonathan decided to join them. He wanted to know a bit more about them, so he started a conversation. The woman who was denied the water by the cashier, her name was Polly, and she told the group that she'd been living on the streets for years. Polly told the group that as a homeless person, kindness is really hard to come by. She told them people would often mock her and her friend when they passed them on the streets. Hearing how horribly these women were treated was enough to bring Jonathan to tears. As Jonathan listened to the women speak and heard their story, he was shocked by them as people. He often thought of homeless people as uneducated, depressed people. These two women were educated, and they were full of life and enthusiasm. He couldn't believe how positive these women were when they literally had nothing. As the women finished their meal, Jonathan and his friends felt the need to do even more. So after talking it over for a few moments, the group decided to invite the ladies back to their home to take a shower. The women agreed, and for the first time in a long time, Polly and her friend were able to take a hot shower and even brush their teeth. While the women were pampering themselves at Jonathan's apartment, he was working hard to cook up several days' worth of meals for the women. He packed them up in plastic containers and plastic bags so Polly and her friend would have something to eat. Jonathan and his friends also wanted to be sure the women were warm for the cold winter. They gave Polly and her friend clean blankets and pillows to take with them. Polly and her friend were now clean, their bellies were full, and they had some necessities to make life on the streets easier. Before leaving, Polly and her friend told Jonathan how much they appreciated his kindness. It was more than anybody had ever done for the women. Jonathan was so touched by his experience with Polly and her friend that he wrote about it on Facebook. He retold the story of the emotional night and made sure to condemn McDonald's for their treatment to this homeless woman. In the post, he wrote, "I don't know what was going through the cashier's mind, but a lady, clearly homeless, was asking for a basic human right, and for a multi-billion-pound company for them to say no is disgusting." Jonathan made sure to add that Polly wasn't asking for food. She just wanted a small cup of water. When the local news heard about what had happened, they called McDonald's to get a comment. The company was quick to dismiss the accusations of discrimination. The spokeswoman agreed to comment on it, and in her statement she said, "There is no McDonald's policy to ban homeless people from our stores, and the vast majority of such requests are granted by our restaurant team." She added, "Working with the local police, our Cardiff stores have have had to ban a number of individuals due to illegal and antisocial behavior, which is why this individual was refused service. Jonathan was disgusted when he read McDonald's statement. Antisocial behavior or not, all Polly wanted was a cup of water. It proved Jonathan's theory that there's a stigma that surrounds the homeless, and they're not always criminals or addicts. Some just need to catch a break once in a while. There are times when a homeless person can even be a hero. Elmer Alvarez. He was a homeless man living on the streets in New Haven, Connecticut. Anybody who's experienced a New England winter knows that they are brutal. Between the cold, the snow, ice, and wind, it is a horrible place to live, especially on the streets. But that's exactly what Elmer does. Like many homeless people, Elmer ended up on the streets because of addiction. Even though he didn't have a place to live, Elmer decided that it was time to get his life together. He got clean, and he started attending Narcotics Anonymous meetings. He went to daily meetings and shared stories of his past and his struggles. One day, Elmer was out on the streets and he found a check on the ground, a check made out for $10,000, and it was already endorsed. And the first thing he did was think about how that kind of money could change his life. After thinking about it for a minute, though, he realized the money didn't belong to him. He knew he had to do the right thing, and fortunately, on the back of the check was a phone number. He didn't have a phone of his own, so Elmer walked the streets trying to find a friend of his who did have a phone. Elmer spoke Spanish, so he asked his friend to make the call. The check belonged to a woman named Roberta Hosky. She was the CEO and president of Outreach Rally Services and Outreach School of Real Estate. When Elmer's friend told her about the check, she couldn't believe that she had lost something that important. Roberta had struggled her entire life. She was once homeless herself, in fact. She wanted to thank Elmer for what he had done, and also to help him out. Roberta decided to do what she could to get Elmer off the streets. She gave him a place to live for 6 months, free, gave him free tuition at her school of real estate. Roberta helped Elmer become a real estate agent, and he finally had a chance. Roberta understood that not all homeless people are bad. They're just down on their luck. Today, the two are partners in a nonprofit organization that helps the homeless. Elmer was Roberto's hero for returning the check. She was his hero for saving his life. All it takes is just being kind to a stranger. You can do that today. Look for an opportunity to do so and subscribe for more.